The year was 2020, and everyone was finally equal. There were no smart people anymore. Everyone was exactly as smart as everyone else. The government had promoted equity over equality. If someone was born smart, they had a device attached to their head that made them dumber. Because what is equity really? According to Kamala Harris, it's making sure that everyone ends up at the same place. It's like these people have never read the short story Harrison Bergeron. Hello everyone, this is Mr. Obvious, and today on the internet we're going to talk about Kamala Harris. She's recently released this horrifying video explaining the difference between equality and equity. What's the difference, they say? What you're going to find here is an absolutely misguided, delusional understanding of the way the world works. She's essentially calling for communism, but it's worse than that. We don't live in an equal world. We have equal opportunity, but we don't have equity. We're going to explain all this, folks. Let's roll the clip.
So there's a big difference between equality and equity. Equality suggests, everyone should get the same amount. The problem with that, not everybody's starting out from the same place. So if we're all getting the same amount, but you started out back there and I started out over here, we can get the same amount, but you're still going to be that far back behind me.
So I just want to start off with the obvious thing here. They show a white man and a black man, and the white man's on the high ground and he gets ahead, and the black man can't get anywhere. Isn't that a little bit bigoted? Why are the Democrats assuming that a minority is starting below? This is utter nonsense. We'll talk about it more, but let's keep going.
It's about giving people the resources and the support they need so that everyone can be on equal footing and then compete on equal footing. Equitable treatment means we all end up at the same place.
So there you have it, folks. Pretty video, all this music, clearly propaganda. But here's the scary part, folks. It's like these people have never read a book, and I'm not really surprised. I'm going to show you Harrison Bergeron. It's a very, very important short story about the future. I'm just going to read you the beginning paragraph, and then we'll summarize. By Kurt Vonnegut. The year was 2081, and everybody was finally equal. They weren't only equal before God and the law, they were equal every which way. Nobody was smarter than anybody else. Nobody was better looking than anybody else. Nobody was stronger or quicker than anybody else. All of this equality was due to the 211th, 212th, and 213th Amendments to the Constitution, and to the unceasing vigilance of agents of the United States Handicapper General. Some things about living still weren't right, though April, for instance, still drove people crazy by not being springtime. And it was in that clammy month that the HG men took George and Hazel Bergeron's 14-year-old son Harrison away. It was tragic, all right, but George and Hazel couldn't think about it very hard. Hazel had a perfectly average intelligence, which meant she couldn't think about anything except in short bursts. And George, while his intelligence was way above normal, had a little mental handicap radio in his ear. He was required by the law to wear it at all times. It was tuned to a government transmitter. Every 20 seconds or so, the transmitter would send out some sharp noise to keep people like George from taking unfair advantage of their brains. In this terrifying version of the future, you have equity. This is a short story about equality and the outcomes of forcing equality. And if I were to describe to you the difference between real equality and equity, it would be this. Real equality is giving everyone an equal opportunity to succeed. It does not mean you are guaranteed to succeed. Nothing in life is guaranteed. Some people are shorter. Some people are taller, stronger, smarter. Some people are geniuses. And as much as it may hurt to be average, to be below average, to not be special, there's nothing you can do about it except work hard and try to find something that you are good at. Equity is forced equality. We take the smart people and we hook a device up to their ear or their brain, and it handicaps their brain and it makes them dumber. We take strong people and we put weights on them that they're required by law to wear all the time so that they don't dance too good or outperform the average Joes. In this horrifying future, humans are literally handicapped so that everybody is equal. Everybody has equity. Now, this is a story about a man and his wife. George, the main character, is watching TV. And in this story, they see this big, strong man, 6 feet tall, super strong, unstoppable. The handicapper general comes and he shoots him with a shotgun. George cries, although he doesn't know why, because it turns out that it was his 14-year-old son that was taken away. You see, George and Hazel had managed to give birth to a superior human being. At 14 years old, he was a giant of a man, 6 foot tall, super strong, ripped off all of his weights, and said, "Look at me, for I am greater than all of you, and I shall rule." The point of this story is very simple. The world is not equal. Equality is a false god, and some people are born greater than others. And you can say that's unfair. Maybe it is unfair. I've certainly felt that it's unfair. But is the answer equity? Is it this forced equality where we handicap everyone, we make them dumb, we hold them back, we shove them down? You know, in communism, everybody did end up in the same place because everybody was poor, had their wealth taken away. That's what Kamala Harris is arguing for. They want the same thing to happen. This is a logical end road of equity. So this is Marxism, plain and simple. And this short story, written all those years ago, perfectly highlights what equity is, what the difference between equity and equality really is. The world is not equal, nor should we try to make it so. Now, my solution to the equality problem isn't to tear people down, which is what equity would do. My solution is to rise everyone up. Everyone, even including the greats. I believe in transhumanism. Instead of handicapping people, we empower people with technology, with biology, with biotechnology, and we make everyone better. It's kind of sci-fi, and maybe it's out in the future. But I believe this is what's going to create a better world. If, for example, we ever have the day and age where we can just flip a switch and all babies will be born smart, then we have a whole world full of smart people. And then the only thing that matters is how hard people work. Those who work the hardest will get the farthest. I'm sure there'll still be some inequality, but we'll be way better off than we were. Tearing people down is not the answer. And regardless of how you feel about things like transhumanism, you have to admit, this is way worse than potentially uplifting people through technology. Now, people in the comment section, a lot of people are calling this out. Andrew Sullivan says, "Why would a vice presidential candidate seemingly endorse full-on Marxism days before a general election? Does she believe government should enforce equality of outcome for everyone? Seriously?" Kamala, okay, this person posts this funny clip here. It's from the Aladdin movie.
On your mark. Get set.
It's funny. It really is funny. I think we've seen a lot with affirmative action and diversity that when the left talks about equal footing, what they really mean is tearing down the other. So, for example, when they talk about uplifting minorities, what they really mean is tearing down white men and women. And, for example, when feminism says they want equality for women, it's really about tearing down men. And we've seen it time and time again. These people don't actually want equality. They want to tear people down. Here we have a Twitter user named Lily Tang Williams. "I grew up under Mao during the Cultural Revolution. What you said showed me you are a communist. Debate me." You know, that's the funniest thing for me. Whenever you have a foreigner or an immigrant who actually grew up under communism, they recognize the Democratic Party for what it is, a culturally Marxist organization. The greatest form of inequality is to try to make unequal things equal. If Aristotle could say this all those years ago, how could people not see it now? Not only is equality a bad idea in philosophy, it's a bad idea in reality. You see, inequality is the bedrock of evolution. If everybody is the same, then nothing ever changes. We're just the same beings and we never improve, we never get better, and we never get anywhere. We don't decay, but we also don't evolve. That's just the way it is. That's why I also believe that transhumanism could be so helpful. We don't have to live in a world where natural selection decides everything. We can choose for ourselves. Better genes, better looks, better smarts, better strengths. All of this is at our fingertips with the power of technology. But you know what, my friends? That's pretty much the story. Equality of outcome enforced by government is nothing more than communism. And you have this really interesting graphic. You have equality on the left, you have equity in theory, and then you have equity in reality. I don't even think this needs to be explained. Real equity means tearing everyone down to the same level. But that, my friends, is merely the obvious. Well, that's all for now, folks. What do you think about this story? Let me know down below in the comments section. As always, if you want to support the channel, you can join me on Patreon or Subscribestar. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you all next time.